friends. Welcome back to my Thoughts of Podcast with Jay. Yes, it has been a minute. Yes, it's a new year. Happy 2024. We are here, y'all. Let's get into it. So, last conversation we had, I think it was a few months ago. Holiday season got kind of and then I think I also had the flu back to back. I was sick for like 3 months strong from literally Halloween until December. It was wild. Um, Legit up until I want to say I was sick until Christmas. And then I was better, and by the grace of God, I'm not sick no more, and I hope to not get sick again. But I did just come back from out of town, and it was a little warmer there, and it's 0 degrees in Chicago. So, welcome back. Um, Quick recap. Um, just been living, trying to get things together. I am preparing to turn 30 in 2 weeks exactly from the date that you will hear this. February 2nd, your girl will be 30 years old. This is wild. I think it's more wild because I'm like, I was just 16. I 30 was nowhere in my viewpoint at that point, and now I'm about to just cross on over. Um, we'll chat about that. I don't know how to feel. I don't feel weird about turning 30. I don't have many high expectations. Not that I don't expect much from myself in the year of my 30s. I intend for my 30s to be amazing. Um, because I hear that 30s are a time. Everybody that's 30 already are like 30s are great. This is like when you really get successful. It's like better than the 20s. Um, you're still having a blast, but adulting at the same time, but in a good way. Um, Besides me about to turn 30, I am planning my birthday party, whew, which is a little stressful. To be an event planner and also be planning your own event is like, but I'm praying for it to be amazing. The theme is Renaissance. I did go see Renaissance, the movie. It was amazing. I also seen the tour, as you guys know. Um, Seeing Beyonce and her work ethic and her mindset and how much grind and how much she puts into the things that she does and loves, is really the reason I chose Renaissance as the theme for my birthday party. I had other themes in mind before, and then on my way home, like leaving the Renaissance, leaving the movie theater, I was like, yep. I was telling my sister, I'm like, that's my theme. That's literally going to be the theme. I don't want everybody in silver because I feel like that's a lot. And also, silver is hard to, well, now it's not hard to find because it's everywhere because of the movie and the concert. Um, but Beyonce said one thing that stuck in me. She was like, I wanted it to be like, she said, Renaissance is stepping into a new era. And I feel as though me stepping into 30 is my Renaissance. I'm spending stepping into my Renaissance time where I care about me. And that is what she said a lot. She stopped caring about, excuse my language, people's fucking opinions. And she went and did things that she wanted to do. She started making music that made her happy, that made her feel good, while also being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner, being a daughter, a sister, a auntie. She did things that made her happy. And that's what life is all about. Truly and honestly, like we are here to be happy. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're supposed to be doing. We have to get out the way, but the goal is happiness. The goal is peace. And that is my goal for this year. That is my goal for my 30s, not just 30, not just that first year. All of my 30s, everything after 30s, I want happiness and I want peace. Um, and that's also what this episode is about. It's about it being the year of me. Um, it can be the year of you, however you want to put it, but the year of me. This is the year that I want to do things for me. I want me to be happy. Um, 2023 was not a year that I did not focus on myself. I feel as though that was a year that I focused on healing. I focused on overcoming trauma, um, not trauma in a sense, but overcoming things that I needed to heal from and becoming a better version of myself. And again, as you guys know, shout out to therapy, shout out to me going to church and rebuilding my relationship with God. That really got me to the place that I am today. Um, I'm very no tolerance when it comes to me now. And I say it in the sense of I'm not going back and forth with people. If I have an opinion or I have something that I stand strong on, I'm going to stand strong on it. No one's going to tell me how I feel, how I should change this, how I should change that. It's me. This is what I want to do for myself. In every avenue of the word, everything is about me. One of my biggest things that my therapist told me was, you are the most important person in the world. Nobody in this world, nobody in your world is more important than you. No children, no parents, no boyfriend, no girlfriend, no nothing is more important than you. You always have to put yourself first. If you're not good or you're not great, how can you be good or great to other people in your life? If you don't have that love for yourself, how can you give out that love to other people? So after she said that, and it took time. This was not something I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become super selfish and it's gonna be all about me. And I'm like, no, well, I get what you're saying, but I still have to take care of this person. I have to do this, and then I have to be nice, and I have to put their feelings first, and I have to think about how they feel. And she would be like, no, stop doing that. Um, One of the biggest things that happened in the moments that I have not spoken to you guys is that me and my therapist ended our relationship. Moment of silence for me and my girl, because I loved her. But it wasn't on any bad terms or anything. She went to start. I'm sorry. She canceled or ended her practice as a therapist. She's no longer going to be a therapist. So it wasn't just me. There are also other people out there that she's no longer being a therapist for, and she wants to open her own business where she does like yoga for young Black girls and helps them with their mental well-being through yoga. And she does not want to do therapy at all. Which at first when she told me, I was kind of hurt because we only had like a month. Like she told me in early December, and me and baby girl wrapped it up last week of the year, I want to say. Yeah, before New Year's, it was done. Um, and it hurt me. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, what? When she told me, I was mad, I was hurt, but I also was like, okay, you're putting yourself first. Because she said this is something that she's been trying to do for about 5 to 10 years, and she never did it because her clients were always like, no, I need you. No, don't leave. Da, da, da. So thankfully, she did continue to do it in that past time because I would have never met her. She would have never been my therapist. Um, and so it took a while, and I had to go and look for other therapists, which I have not found another therapist yet. I have people that I can set appointments up with, but I haven't connected with them directly. Just getting into the new year and things like that. But I am going to reach out to them because I do feel like therapy is very helpful for me. And when I have things that I need to process and talk about, um, therapy is my go-to, and I really, really, truly appreciate that. So I definitely want to get another therapist. But yeah, my girl Celia, that was my girl. If she kept me on my toes, she told me when I was right, when she told me when I was wrong. Um, and it was a great therapist client relationship. And yeah, I'm very sad about it. Like I was like, girl, can we be Facebook friends? Like, what I'm gonna do without you? She didn't even say yeah, but I do got her number and her email in case I ever feel like I need to reach out. But our last session was amazing. She kind of prepared me to like towards the end, like, okay, so in the last session, like, what do you think you've done differently, or how do you think you changed? What do you want to work on with your new therapist? And it was a great conversation. I took a bunch of notes so I can like remember certain things. One of the main things again was make sure you are staying the number one person in your life, and that's your priority. Like in that conversation, I forgot who it was. I was given leeway, and I was like, "Well, I didn't do this because they might feel." And she was like, "Why does that matter? They don't matter." She's like, and as selfish as it sounds, no, it doesn't matter how that person might feel, and then do what's best for you. How do you feel about a situation? Granted, it might seem very rude and selfish to say, I don't care how your feelings are. This is how I feel about something. I'm going to stick to this. But that's how the light world has to be sometimes. Sometimes we get so preoccupied and wrapped up in how other people would feel about a situation that we dilute our feelings or dilute our feelings, sorry. And we're like, okay, well, as long as they're happy, or as long as they've expressed how they feel, as long as they're there. And it's like, no, it's not about them, it's about you, because you have to live with yourself on a day-to-day basis. You have to battle those thoughts that you're going to have back and forth about a situation that you let someone take full control over. Um, and that's not the way things should be. It's about you. This should be the year of you. So this is how I got to the title of this episode, honestly, like 15 minutes ago. um, and the year of me, 2024. That's what I want to do. I want to do things to make me happy. And I told my therapist, I was like, because when we had like our last few minutes of our session, she was like, is there anything you want to say to me? Anything, I'll wrap up anything I want to say to you. And I was like, honestly, just thank you. I wanted to cry. It was crazy. I was like, thank you for helping me get to where I am. Thank you for giving me the space to be open, to have these conversations. And I say, you help me in ways that, I tell you often, but ways that you can't even imagine. I am such a better person because of you being my therapist. I could have had anybody else in this last 2 to 3 years time span. I didn't. I had you, and I truly appreciate you. I wish you nothing but the best of successes. I wish you were not leaving, but I'm also happy that you are and you're doing it for yourself. Um, and I also said that I feel as though this has happened for a reason. If you guys have listened to previous episodes, you know that is one of my mantras. Everything happens for a reason. And her reason could have just been here for the years before I turned 30. I might have needed someone else in this new era, in this new journey that I'm about to take in this world, with somebody else to take that with me and not her. Not to say that she wasn't a great therapist and she didn't help me, but a lot of stuff that we did touch on was family and childhood things, and my childhood being the reason that I am now. And that's not to say that the next therapist won't do that, but I can now focus on, okay, I've worked on this with my last therapist, and I'm not really still there yet. Like the whole me being the most important person in my life, I've worked on that with her, but I'm not shining as I should be. So how do I get from there to where I need to be? Um, and I was like, maybe it's time. This was meant to be. This, I trust that this was how it was. And then she was like, "Oh, thank you. I love how you're seeing it that way. That's a good way to look at it." And she was just like, I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of where you are today from where you started. I'm proud of you coming to the sessions and being vulnerable and opening yourself up because you did the work. She's like, I was just here to help you get through it, but you are the one that truly came to the sessions, talked about what needed to be talked about, did the work on trying to be better. Um, and she just continues to tell me how she was very proud of me and everything that I was doing and where I am going. So that's where the tears wanted to fall. Um, and I was like, she really dropped the mic at the end of my session because often, if you're close to me, I often say that I don't like people. I say it all the time because I don't think, before me in this conversation with her, I said I do not like people. I don't like being around certain people, certain things people do. I just don't like it. So I just lump all y'all up in one. And if you're listening, I've probably said this to you about you. I don't like people, period. Um, and the conversation was going, oh, I have to find another therapist, but I don't like people. And she was like, stop saying that. She was like, you've been saying that for a very long time, and stop saying it because you do like people. She was like, you're a people person, you're a relationship person, romantically and friendship wise, family wise. You're a people person. And then her follow up was, you just don't like the way people act. You don't like the things that people do. You are not a fan of how people treated you in the past. So that has made you not like people. And I was like, oh, clutched my pearls. I said, you could drop your mic now because you've done what you needed to do. Truly and honestly, you came here and you said that. I'm like, and you're not wrong, because the reason that I don't like people is because of things people have done to me in the past that have either become a pattern or it's just something that I've seen that I don't like. And it can be even as simple as I'm walking down the street. Say you walking downtown and somebody bump into you because they're not paying attention and they don't say I'm sorry. Instantly, I don't like people. But I don't like people who are inconsiderate and who are rude. You should have been paying attention because you're walking down a busy street. And then when you felt yourself almost knock me on my feet, you should have said, "Excuse me," and you should have had manners. I don't like people that do that. And when she said it, I'm like, wow. So that racked that up. That was amazing. Me and my sister Imani are both Aquariuses. We are very similar in many ways because we are born exactly 1 week from each other. I'm the second, she's the ninth. We are the opposite of each other, but also the same person. It's very crazy. Um, and I took her out before she went back to school. We went out to dinner, and she said in the car, like, "Yeah, because I don't like people." And I was like, "Oh my God, my therapist said, you know, this." I was like, "This is what she said about that." Anybody was like, and she not wrong, because that's true. I don't like the way people act. I don't like the things people do. And I don't, this is because of that. And then we watched a TikTok she has sent to me of a guy, and he was like, the whole trend as, "Of course I'm a blank. And this is why I do this." And the guy was like, "Of course I'm an Aquarius." And I say, "I don't like people, but I love relationships." And I was like, "Oh my God, so this is the thing. This is with us." Okay. um, because it is true. I love relationships. I love friendships. I love having family bonds and stuff like that. I just don't like certain people's characteristics. I don't like the things that they do. I don't like the things that they say. I don't like the way that they act. And people can feel the same exact way about me, which they're entitled to feel. But this is what makes me grasp, because a lot of times it's patterns with things that people do. And it's like, why do you do that? Why do you think this way? Why do you act this way? But most of you have to learn that people are not you. People are not raised the same way as you. We're not all cut from the same cloth. Even if you have similarities in your background, that does not make you the same person. You can grow up with somebody in the exact same household or the exact same family, go to the same schools, and be two opposite people, and that's okay. um, it's just you want people to be like you. You want people to understand things how you understand. You want people to have their outlook on things that you have the outlook on. Something that you consider to be rude or mean is not something other people consider to be rude or mean. Um, Simple, like, I hate when people snack on their food. I don't, when the older I get, the more little noises bother the hell out of me. Y'all, like, y'all have no, like, when people sit and tap on things and just make noise. Like, I'll be in a car driving and my mama or my sister, I'm like, "Stop it." Like chewing on something. So I'm like, "Stop. What are you doing it for?" I hate noise. Like little noises. I don't know why. It just triggers me and I hate little noises. But smacking does not bother everybody. And it's so funny because my godson will come over and he'll eat and he'll like start smacking. And I'm like, "Demir, stop that. What are you doing?" And he'll be like, "I forgot. Godmommy doesn't like smacking. Godmommy, why don't you like smacking?" And it's honestly from my mother, because when we were younger and we smacked on our food, she would tell us to stop. That's not proper. You're not supposed to do that, because why are you, like, y'all know what smacking is, when you chewing with your mouth open and people can hear you. Every time you chew, you can hear that. And she was like, don't do that. So when we were younger, it had just became such a thing that she didn't like it, so we didn't do it. And I've just become accustomed to when I hear people smacking, I'm like, "Oh my God, stop." But this is like, okay, this wasn't the thing for you in your house. Your mother did not like it, so this is why you continue to do it. And that's for a lot of things. People are not raised the same way. They're not, certain things are not the same. Some people in their households, when they grew up, they couldn't watch TV while they ate food. We were allowed to do that. Some people couldn't play games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. Like I was, allowed to do that. Some people couldn't go out with their friends after a certain time, or couldn't go to certain people's houses, or it had to be like background checks to go to a party or something. So it's like you're raised differently because you learn from the behavior of the people around you and your family and how you were raised, and this is how you become. So you can't fault people for not being exactly how you want them to be, but what you can do is not tolerate those people for being around you. You don't have to have those people around you who do things that you don't like. And I'm learning that. I'm learning that if I don't like something that somebody does and it's on a continuous basis, I don't have to tolerate that. I have every single right in my heart and soul to no longer talk to you, to no longer be bothered with you, to no longer communicate with you. And what my girl, my therapist did say, because I was speaking to her about a particular person that this guy I was dating, and I was like, yeah, I don't like the inconsistency of communication because I'm very big on communication. And in therapy, I learned how much more I am into communication and why I've decided like certain conversations. My therapist always said, don't have conversations through text messages because in text messages, things get misconstrued. People take stuff how they want to take it. And it's just, if you send a text message and you don't put an LOL and you say something, people are going to assume that you're not joking. Or if you put too many LOLs, people are going to assume you don't take them serious in that sense. So, she was like, you could say it one way and they're going to hear it anger because in the midst of whatever conversation you guys could possibly be having, it could be an angry conversation, it could be a sad conversation, it could be a happy conversation. So they're taking it however their feelings are at that moment. And they can be taking it based off what's going around them. It could have nothing to do with you, but they might feel as though you got an attitude and now tension arises. So I like that was a very big thing. Me and Deja, my sister, hey girl, we always used to have like these long debates through text message. We never called each other. We never pulled up in person to have these conversations. We didn't do voice messages. It was always long, like long. You would think me and Deja was dating. Like we would go back and forth in long paragraphs, but majority of the paragraphs were I'm trying to explain what I said earlier and why I don't think you should be taking it this way. And then her message is doing the same thing. Well, this is really what I meant to say, and you shouldn't be taking it this way because that's not how I said it. But through text message, I don't know what you're saying. I'm only seeing what you're saying to me, and I'm taking it how I'm perceiving it to be. So, my therapist said, people hate that too. I say that all the time. I'm like, well, my therapist said it, and my therapist told me because this is what y'all. This is who I am now. She's helped me so much. I could be who I used to be, and y'all don't want that. We are healing. We are growing. um, but she said that if you can't communicate without having that conversation through text messages, like then don't have that conversation. Um, she was like either say what can be said through text message as clear and precise as it can be so people can understand what you're saying. But she's like, once it get past 3 to 4 sentences, wrap it up. Either summarize everything you're trying to say in those 3 to 4 sentences, or just stop. You should not be sending paragraphs to explain something in a situation where you are trying to get your point across because your point is not going to come across to whoever is reading it. Um, she was like, make that phone call, do that FaceTime, get in person with that person and have those conversations if you want to have it. Because a lot of times we just go back and forth in text message and we don't even really care about the situation. We don't want to have that conversation. We don't really want to talk. And she's like, well, whatever, if you can't say it in person, then don't say it in text message. And sometimes just wrap it up. You have to just let people know, okay, I'm done. I don't care to have this conversation that might seem rude, but now I don't want to talk about this. Not saying that whatever you have to say is not valid, but there's just like, okay, we're not coming to an understanding. And until we can, on both sides, I understand what you're saying, you understand what I'm saying, then I don't want to have this conversation. And that's okay. This is about you being selfish with you. You don't have to talk to these people. So, in the sense of being now a more communicative person, because I always, if you know me personally, I always ask a lot of questions. I've always been that person, but that's because I've at some point I stopped being a person that assumed things because assumptions get your feelings hurt. So I don't even assume down to the smallest detail. I'll always ask. So what is this? What do you mean? Where are we going? How is this going to be? Like, I ask questions, and people, especially people that I date, are not fans of it. They do not like it at all. It's like, why do you ask so many questions? I'm like, I have to get clarity on situations, because if I don't, my mind wanders. I'm an overthinker. So if I ask you one thing and you're not really clear on it, and I'm still sitting here in a gray area and I don't know what's being said, then I'm going to ask you again. And then if I don't ask you again in the same way I asked you, I'll ask you again in another way, because now I'm trying to get clarity on the situation so I don't assume. Because my assumptions can get me to the point of thinking that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, or that you're only halfway telling me the truth, or whatever it is that my assumptions grow to make in my mind because I'm overthinking it. That's what I do. And I try not to do that. I really, really, that's one thing I do not like to do, is assume with anybody. Like, you could say something simple as, yeah, I miss my friend. Like, somebody said this recently to me. I miss my friend. And they were talking to me. It was like, I think I said, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, laying down, missing my friend. So I partially was like, oh, that could be me. But I'm like, let me ask. Granted, it's like, duh. But it's like, I need to be clear about things, because some people are not clear. And then I try to be as clear as possible. Like, I am a very honest person. I'm a very, sometimes brutally honest bitch. To be clear, but I am a very honest person, and I say what I have to say. I say what comes to my mind. Sometimes I have been learning to wait before I just throw stuff out there, because sometimes things I say does come off harsh, and it doesn't. It's not that I didn't mean what I said, because I always mean what I say, and I say what I mean. Period. Every single time. So it's not that I don't mean what I'm saying. I just don't mean to come off how it might have come off. I didn't mean, if it came off rude to you, that's not how I meant to say it. But I meant to say what I said. I said what I said, period. Shout out to Nene. Period. But so, like, my communication, I'm like, okay, I need to get better with communicating. And I'm like, if you're not consistently communicating with me, and that's just calling me, texting me, even if you're not a texter, let me know that. I'm a texter because I've worked in call centers for the past, before COVID. So, like, since 2016 until now, I've on and off worked in call centers. And I've also worked in the public with people. So that's also why I don't like people, is because I've worked customer service since I was 16. Um, but anyway, y'all, if you know, you know. But I don't like sitting on my phone. One, I don't like my phone up to my ear often, and I also forget that I be having headphones. And then I don't like sitting on FaceTime with certain people, because it's like, why are we staring at each other? And then I talk on the phone at work. I have to call people and have conversation with people that I don't know. So a lot of the times I don't want to have conversation with people that I do know. So I prefer to send text messages. And then also, the beauty of now, you can send voice messages. I have a whole conversation with you through voice message, because I don't have to sit on the phone and hold my phone up to my ear. But if you don't tell me you're not a texting type of person, then I don't know that, and I'm gonna always text you. And if you wanted to call, then you should tell me that. So it's like, you have to learn how other people communicate, especially in relationships and in friendships. You want to know how they communicate and what's like their love language for communicating. Um, and I was like, yeah, this person's very distant, communicating wise. And what I've learned that I do with people in my life that I personally know is I make excuses for them. And I have to stop doing that. This is my therapist. This goes back to her saying, stop, um, not stop assuming, but stop, putting other people's feelings before yours. And I'll be like, well, he was working and he did have to do this and he did have that to do. So maybe this is why he did what he did. And she was like, well, don't do that. You don't know why a person reacted how they react. You don't know why they're not texting. You don't know why they're not communicating. And she was like, it's simple. Even if you not sending paragraphs of text message, it's not hard to send a text message to say, hey, how are you today? Hey, are you good? Hey, I miss you. Anything. Hey, I'll call you later. I'm busy right now. Anything like that, just to communicate with the person that you're dating. And she said, okay, so what you do is communicate that to that person and let them know I don't really like that we don't talk consistently. I don't like that we're not having conversation. I don't like that we go all day without having conversation with people because just like everybody says, you're never too busy for the person that you like or that you want to be with. You make that time no matter what you're doing. And when she said that, I communicated that to him and he understood like, oh, okay, so this is a thing for you and this is how you feel about the situation. And then at that point, this I reached out more. Like it wasn't full blown conversation, but it was still, hey, how are you? Hey, how your day doing? Stuff like that. You putting a little bit of effort behind the fact that we were both still busy and adults and have lives. Excuse me. But we were still making, the strides with that. But it was also so I was like, oh, but I'm making this excuse for this person. And it came to the sense of she was like, well, okay, so you give people that try. You give people that leeway of, okay, this is how I feel about something. So it starts with you're doing something I don't like or something I'm not a fan of or something I don't want to tolerate anymore. You give them the opportunity, you communicate with them and say, this is what I don't like. This is what I don't care for. This is what I will not tolerate. And you wait to see if they change or see if their behavior starts to change based off what you told them. And then also see what they say. Well, I also don't like that you do this. Maybe we can both change in a certain situation, but then don't make it tit for tat. Like, oh, well, I don't like this, you don't like this, because it's like, why are we even dating or talking or whatever? Why are we friends if you don't like so much about me? And once you communicate that, you give them the chance to see if they do make a difference based off the things that you're requiring from them as a person. And she said, and then, give them a second chance. She said, because everybody deserves chances no matter who they are or what they do, especially if you want them in your life. Now, if you know it's a possibility you don't want somebody in your life, stop giving them the chances that you're giving them. People do not deserve unlimited chances. I am learning that. I've given so many people so much leeway and so many chances in my life, and then in the end I'm like, why am I even this person's friend? Why did I date this person for so long? Why did I continue to talk to this person and I didn't want to be with them or I didn't want to be around them? Like, I'm just giving you chances to continue to disappoint me. And that's honestly what the chances are. We're just letting them continue to do things that we either do not like, that we don't care about. And we're just letting them disappoint you at the end of the day. And it's like, okay, when does it stop? Like, how many chances do I have to stop giving you to either one, you just do better and be better as a person for me, or for me to wake up and say, all right, cool, I'm done. Like, you've already said you're not going to change. And no matter how many chances I give, because people will give, I'll do better. I promise you I'll change. And then they'll change for that couple weeks or that couple months or so. And then they'll fall back into their old ways because now they've pacified you and now you're happy and you're satisfied with how they've acted. And then you won't notice that they're sliding back down the slope of doing what they wanted to do originally. And then you're like, okay, well, then it becomes that cycle of, well, they've changed before, so I know they can change again. They have to be able to change again because they've done it before. And then you start sticking to that potential of what that person can become because you've seen it before, without really thinking about the fact that this person only changed because of fear of losing you. People are afraid of losing you because you're such a great person. You do such amazing things for them. You say the right thing. You uplift them. You support them. You're loyal. You stand by them. Hell, you give them money. You give them a place to stay. You let them drive your car. Whatever it is that you do for a person, you're doing something that they cannot get from anybody else. Now, yes, they can go date another girl and, she give them some of the things you do, or they can go have another friend that is loyal and supportive, but it's still not you. Because again, at the end of the day, we're all different people. We all do similar things, but we're all different people. We're all different shapes, sizes, mindsets, everything about us. You're one of a kind. Nothing about you is the same as anybody else. So, of course, when people say, you'll never find a friend like me, you'll never date anybody else like me, that could be a good thing in a sense. Yes, you're right. I will never have a terrible friend like you again. I will never have a terrible ex boyfriend or girlfriend like you again. But on the other side of it, it's like, you kind of right. Your loyalty is not the same as this other person's loyalty. Your support doesn't support me like they do. They support me by, you know, just liking stuff on Instagram and reposting it. You support me by showing up. Your support is different than what their support is. Not saying that either support is bad, because that's how that person decides to show up for you, but it's different. So I don't want to lose that. I don't want to not have you or what you can bring to the table in my life. I need to at all times have what you can give. So, of course, I'm going to do the best that I can, and I'm going to keep you around as much as I can. And then if I can't keep you around, you know, it sucks, but at least I tried. But I know that if I can keep pulling on your heartstrings just a little bit, I'm going to keep you around. And I'll always do better at this point, then I'll fall short. Then I'll always do better again, then I'll fall short. And then you're just sitting there waiting for me to change because you know how much potential I have. And actually, that was going to be one of the topics before. Crazy thing is, I recorded a whole 30 minutes of a podcast driving home. And I tried to, so I had my AirPod in, but my car is connected to my Bluetooth. And the only way to like disconnect is like literally disconnecting it. Um, and it still don't work sometimes. Like once you put the AirPod in, it kind of like connects it regardless by itself. So in the midst of this, I tried to turn my GPS on so I could make sure I was going the right way to get back home, which I kind of knew where I was going, but I still was like, let me make sure this is the right turn. And it stopped. The recording stopped. And when I tried to reconnect it, again, I'm driving, so I can't do too much, trying to be safe. When I tried to reconnect it, it kept connecting the recording to the car, and then you couldn't really hear me. So I maybe the 30 minutes I recorded before will still be released at some point. I don't know. I never really went back to replay because I was irritated. But it was about potential and us banking so much on the potential of a person and wanting so much of a person to change because we know what they can be. We know we've seen them in the light of a good person and what we required from them, and they were able to do this. And, I feel like potential really plays more of a part in relationships, in the sense of you are dating a guy and he's everything that you want him to be, but there's just so much he does also fall short on, but you know he has the potential to be greater. It's a guy that, a guy that's not working, but you know he has goals and he potentially can reach those goals with the support behind him. Or somebody can potentially be better at a sport if they practice, or in anything. Like, it's just like, I know you have the potential to be somebody better, and I'm going to wait and stick it out with you because I know you can change. And that's our downfall. Females and males, we stick around because we know that somebody has potential to become whatever it is we want them to become. And then when they don't do it, it kind of messes with us. It's like, well, dang, go change. You can do this. You've been this before. You were loyal before. You were supportive. You were loving. You showed affection. You showed me, you treated me like a king or a queen. I know you can do it again because you've done it before. But now that I've become more relaxed with the fact of that I required it before, but now it's down a couple levels. It's not as much of a requirement. Then you fall short, and you're like, "Well, I don't have to do this anymore because now I got you." Some people get comfortable with their situations and are like, "Well, I got you. I don't need to call you every day. I don't need to text you. I don't need to spend time with you. I don't need to take you on a date. I don't have to do any of that anymore because I already got you." And then it's like, okay, well, this is what I want. So maybe you'll change because you have the potential to, because you've changed before and you've done so much before and you've been so great before. And it was ironic. I went to go see the movie American Fiction with my auntie. Great movie. Ending was weird, but it was a great movie. And Issa Rae is one of the characters in it. And they were having a conversation about a book. It was a lot happening in the movie. You would have to see it. But Issa Rae says, potential is what people see when they think what's in front of them isn't good enough. And literally in the middle of the movie, I was like, oh my God, I got to write that down. I was like, she just went crazy. Bars. Go off. um, because that's true. Like, potential is what people see when they think what's in front of them isn't good enough. Because I'm looking at you and I know what you can be, but technically, you're not where I want you to be. You're not good enough for me at this point But I do believe that if you put some effort into this, this, and this, you can be better. And I'm looking at what your potential is because this is what I want from you. This is what I need from you to help me. And a lot of the times we fall short on ourselves because we are so focused on what somebody else can be that we're lacking the ability to just go find that other person that's already doing it. There are people out there that will bring you as much happiness as you are requiring. There are men that take women out on dates. There are men that, that don't believe in the whole 50-50 thing. There are men that will pay your bills and take care of you for life, okay? There are men that will support you, that will love you, that will push you forward, that there are women that will there are people out there that will do everything you need of them. There are friends that are going to be loyal, that are going to support you, that are never going to speak ill about you behind your back, that are not going to go sneak dish you on social media, that are not going to put you down in any way, shape, or form. But there are people who are out there who are going to, every time you walk into a room, they show that they appreciate that you're there. That they're only time they're talking about you behind your back is when they're speaking you up to another level. There are friends that are out there that are praying for you, that will pray with you, for you, that'll go to church with you, that will go on brunch dates, that will sit in the room with you in complete silence when you need that. They're a phone call away, that they'll drop everything for you. There are people out there that will do that for you. So stop wasting time on people that won't. Moment of silence. Drop my mic because that was a good one. Stop wasting time on people who don't give you what you want. Stop saying that they will change, that they will get better, because you can't get better if you're holding on to the past, if you're holding on to what they cannot be. And sometimes, a lot of the times, people are telling you this is where it ends. This is where I'm capped at. I'm not going to get better. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to give you wiggle room. Like, I might do a little bit better, but it ain't going to happen because this is who I'm comfortable with. This is where I want to be at. And this is what makes me. And if you're not okay with it, then leave. Because they know that there's somebody out there that is okay with them being at the level that they're at. And a lot of times, if you look at some relationships, there'll be people who, you know, they settle for someone and they stick in that, and then after they settle for so long, they think that that's what they deserve, until they finally get the urge to leave that situation and go off and get somebody better. um Future, Sierra, and Russell, and what's his name, Russell Westbrook, him, you know what I'm talking about, her man, her husband. She dated Future. Granted, he had kids before her. He had a bunch of baby mamas before her. He was a rapper. He was in his prime at that time. So he out there kicking it. She thought she might be the one that would change him and help him because of whatever they were having, the conversations behind closed doors that we didn't see, and how he was treating her and how he was taking her out and how he was showing her off. How I'm pretty sure he said he wanted her to have his child and how much he loved her and would take care of them. And that was what she wanted and thought would happen. Hence why she would name her child directly Future instead of his actual name. She thought, I can change this person, or even if I can't change it, this person has changed for me. So I'm going to go with this, and we're going to, because we potentially can be something more than we are now. He won't be the same type of father he was to those other kids because I'm different. My child's different. Things will be different. Later on, she's seen that that is not the case. This man is no different than he was with everybody else. He is the same person because he don't have to change. It's not required of him. He's okay with who he is and what he does. And just like after Sierra, there were other women that came around and were like, you're right. You got all these kids. You got all these baby mamas. You a rapper. You in your prime. You got money. You out on the town. You doing whatever you want to do. I like it. There's someone who was okay and comfortable with the life that he has. And Sierra didn't say, oh, well, I don't deserve better. I'm going to settle. I'm not going to go wish for or want anything else. Instead, sis put her prayer together and got her husband, and has beautiful children, and has a husband that is taking care of her child with another man, as if that was his child, as if that is his flesh and blood. And now she's happy and she's glowing and she's doing everything that she wanted to do and being treated how she wants to be treated, because she didn't settle for what someone told her, this is all I have to give you. Okay, if that's all you have, I'm going to go find more. Like, period. Like that is the thing. When people like, if you want less, go find, like, if you want less or something like that, go find less. Like, I'm more, period. There, you'll probably find me, but there's certain things you'll never find in another person that I gave you, period. Because I'm not the same, but none of us are the same. So we all can say that I'm not the same as anybody else. And I tell people that all the time. Don't ever compare me to other people, because I'm not other people. We might be similar in certain ways and factors, but I'm nothing like anybody else. I tell people that all the time. And it might come off as cocky. That's cool. My life is about me. This is my world. I do as I please. But this is true. I'm not like other people in various ways. I take pride in that. That is something I hold true to myself, and I tell people that all the time. It is what it is. And a lot of times people tell me, you're not wrong. There are a lot of people that are like, you are right. You're not the same as other people. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depends on how they view it. But it is what it is. Um, so sorry, need a little sip of water. In the sense of you putting yourself first, do it. I like I said, going into 30, um, I didn't have I don't have too many expectations. Even going into 2024, I ended my year differently this year. I was around my friends. One thing I said, my only thing for 2024 going into it was I wanted to look good and feel good. That was it. At first I wasn't gonna get my hair done for real. I wasn't even figuring what I was gonna do. I ended up coloring some bundles. New business coming soon. Shout out to me. Um, Coloring some bundles when I got my hair done, like a couple days before the first. Um, got cute, bought me a new outfit, something simple, put some makeup on. And actually, in that whole weekend, like, I went to support one of my friends at their comedy show. So I got dressed up, got cute for that, took myself out after that, like, had a day for me. I basically took myself on a date. I went to the comedy show, went to a bar, got some food after that, went home, and I was in a great mood. And I was like, well, this is the vibe that I want. So going into, I feel like that was the 29th, maybe. So when I went into New Year's Eve, I went to my friend's house. We all took a shot at 12 o'clock. We went around the room saying what our goals were. I was surrounded around good vibes, good people, had a great time. Um, and that's what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't have too many high expectations. I didn't want to go to a club. I didn't want to go spend a whole bunch of money trying to go out to a club. I didn't want to be around a bunch of drunk people acting crazy. I didn't want to be extra drunk myself. Like, I was tipsy, more or less. Like, I was good. I wasn't. Now I've had some New Year's Eves, one of them per se, that I was very, very drunk, and I didn't want that. I wanted to remember what I did. I wanted to have a good time. I wanted to be able to drive home safely, and that's what I did. I had a great time with my friends. Shout out to all of them. Um, and it wasn't like I went into the new year where I was like, I have to do this. I have to accomplish this. Now, there are things that I personally have to do before I turn 30. Um, and it's not even too much. It's one of the things was releasing an episode of my podcast before before I turn 30, because I want to release another episode in February. Um, Also, I for sure wanted to go to church. I went to church, so I had a party on the 30th. We had a blast, y'all. That's why I had such a great weekend. It was great. I had a lot happen in that last weekend of the year. See that transition. You got to do things to make yourself happy and be happy and put you in the right mindset. But we had a blast. All of my friends over here, my best friends over here, we had a blast on the 30th. Um, but one of my biggest things was I was going to church on New Year's Eve, and I didn't go to bed till like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I got up at like service. It was a one time service at New Life. They do three services. This is a unity service because they had two services at night. So originally my thing was, if I didn't go out for real and I didn't have any real plans, I was going to go to the 10 o'clock service at night and then just bring the new year in at church, as I've done before. But before, it would only be over, it would be an hour service. so that way you'll have enough time to get home before 12. This time they did it that afterwards they had like something set up in the lobby with a DJ so people didn't have to rush back home at 12 o'clock. Because y'all, if you know how I be getting in the city or whatever. So it was like either if I don't go out, I'm going to one of those services, or I have to go to the 10 o'clock in the morning service. The night before at my party is when I found other plans on the 31st. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I have to get up. I had my alarm set. Your girl was tired. I ain't it. But I hopped up. I said, Mom, like, come on, we finna go to church. I got up, threw some clothes on, washed my face, brushed my teeth. Um, was gonna get there late, so I think I didn't get there. It's like 11:30. Got around, found a parking spot. By the grace of God, the power had went out at church. In the like community, the power had went out. The generators came on, so church basically went over like an hour because they wasn't streaming it or nothing, so it was like very raw, authentic. It was like just minimum light, but it was also very bright in there. It was still a church full of people. um like the choir wasn't singing because they didn't have the microphones. Only pastor had a microphone. At first he was like off a ball horn, so as stuff was coming back on, they were starting to do stuff. Um and the choir wasn't singing. So Pastor Hannah had started to start singing, and then the entire congregation was singing. When I tell you it was powerful, it was meant to be. I had to be in that room. That's what I needed to transition into the new year. And it was, y'all, it was great. I really, like, I wish it was recorded, but it was also so intimate and raw and authentic that it didn't need to be. It was great. But I needed that. I needed that to set the mood for how I wanted to go into my new year. And I haven't done a vision board, which I usually don't really do. I start like doing one digitally because that's usually easier for me, and I'll print it out or put it like as my screensaver on my computer or my phone. But I haven't done one yet. And I was telling one of my friends, like, she's, oh, I want to do a vision board. I'm like, I just don't know what I want. I'm not really setting goals. I kind of want to do what God has in store for me. Like, I just want to trust the path that I'm on and set, certain goals. Like, okay, I want to make sure I accomplish this, and I got to do this. And this is something I know is about to happen. And when I start this, I want to finish it and complete it successfully. But I'm not setting expectations of like, oh, well, this has to happen this year, because that's when I get tough on myself, and I don't want that for me. I just want to be happy. I just want peace. I just want it to be about me. And 2024 and 30, this is not, to me, one, I'm big on numbers. On 2/2/24, I turned 30, and 2 + 2 = 4. There, two is my favorite number. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Like, it's a big thing. And then my 30th birthday party will be on February 3rd. So there's so much with numbers. And then 2/2 is my birthday, and then the year is 2024. To I'm really big on numbers, so especially the number 2. That is my favorite number, and I love how it all aligns. Um, so this is like, I'm just gonna like not let my expectations fall, but I'm going to do things that make me happy and let God's will be done with everything that I do. I've now started, since the beginning of the year, start saying, because Pastor kind of said it on New Year's Eve, um, God's will be done. And I started saying that in all of my prayers, like, let your will be done. If this is what it's supposed to be, I this isn't the first time, but I pray before I start my podcast, and I say, what conversation that me and God have, and then I put let your will be done at the end of it now, because that's all I want. I want to walk that path and also do what's best for me. I don't want to no longer hold on to dead end friendships, hold on to bad relationships, hold on to people that no longer serve me purpose in my life, because they taking up space, truly and honestly. If I'm holding space with a guy and I'm allowing him to do this and I'm allowing him to do that, I'm never gonna go find my what I want. Like, the whole Future and Sierra, she sat there and held on the Future for so long and thought that he was going to change and thought he was going to be better and thought he would eventually become what she wanted him to be, she would not be where she is right now. And that's happy and at peace and in love. And you can just look at that. not even just for a relationship, in every avenue of your life. Stop sticking to things that are not making you happy. I say this all the time. Do what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, this is your life. Nobody's living it for you. So other people's decisions and opinions and what they have to say and what they say about you, those things no longer matter, because they don't matter. Only you matter, which is why I'm making 2024 and my 30th year on this planet about me. I want to be happy. I want to have peace. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to have peace. And if that means that I have to stop talking to certain people, that I have to stop interacting with certain people, that I have to stop putting myself in certain rooms where I'm not appreciated and I'm not loved, and I have to stop tolerating certain things and certain people, then I'll do that. It's a big thing in the last few months. I've been hearing at church, seeing on TV, seeing on like little astrology things online. Just a lot of things have been about a circle around me, like a new circle of friends, or the right circle being around me to help me get to where I need to be. And that has been a moving thing, truly. There's been friendships I had to let go because I was holding on to things of the past. And one thing my therapist said again was, you're not who you were 10 years ago. And a lot of my friendships that I have are truly from when I was younger, which I appreciate. I love that I have 10-year plus friends. But she said, you're not who you were 10 years ago, and they're not who they were 10 years ago. So if you guys keep viewing each other as that person, then you'll never grow. More or less, that's what she said. I probably just made some of it up, but anyway. um, but that was the gist of it. And what it basically just means is, if I'm always seeing you as 2012 you, then I can never understand you as 2024 you. Um, and it took me a while to understand that for various reasons, but one of them was, I'm like, well, this is the same person. And to me, I thought I was the same person. She's like, but you're not. You've grown. You're not that same friend to that person. You went through so much from high school to your adulthood now. Um, may it either be good or bad, and now you're a different person. You're not who you used to be. So you shouldn't have to be the same exact person. Your things about you have changed, and things about them have changed. So you now have to be friends with this person for who they are today. And sometimes when you take that real look at who this person is, you might not even like who that person is anymore, because you were so stuck on who they used to be. You were so stuck on the friendship that you guys used to have, or the relationship that you used to have with a person, that you're not understanding that now this is truly who this person is. And sometimes they're telling you that, but you're trying to overlook it. You're like, well, no, they've just changed a little bit, and they just, they had this and they had that. And it's like, well, no, this is who they are. Because 9 times out of 10, people are not giving you the leeway that you're giving people. And that's 100% the honest truth. We give so many people leeway from our point of view, where it was like, well, no, they went through this, or they have this type of relationship, or they moved away, or they have kids, or, you know, they didn't have things going good with this and they didn't have things going with that. So I understand why they treat me this way. And I understand why they're this type of person. I understand why they're mad and why they're this. And then when it gets back on you, they still expect so much from you. They don't care what you got going on. They don't care that bills is due, or you got kids, or that you got a relationship, or that you got. People don't care, because in their world, they're the most important person of their world. So they're like, well, you should still be able to do what you're doing for me, but when I got stuff going on, you should be okay with it. That's not how the world works. We have to be on a balance. This is a friendship. This is a relationship. This is whatever it is. There has to be balance. I'm not who I used to be, and you're not who you're used to be, and we both have to accept that. And it's hard. It's a process. But when you sit and look at people for who they are, stop trying to change who they are showing you that they are. And that's a tough one. That's a very tough pill to swallow because we don't want people to be different than what we see them for. We want them to be amazing and loving and caring and affectionate and appeal to your love languages, and all of the things. But sometimes that's just not it. And when they don't have that, and you've given them, three strikes you out, once they get to that out stance, the game is over. The team switch. Like if you watch baseball, once you out three times, they switch the field and everything, and people like the team switch over, and then they do it again. And it's like you gotta let them people go. And it's hard. It's hard to let people go that you've known all your life, or even people that you've known in short periods of time. And I've learned that there's been people that I've talked to, that I've dated, that I really, really liked, and I really wanted, things to work out between us. And I'm like, oh, it could go further. It can go this. It could go that. But sometimes it don't, and it's okay. That I've learned that things and people are a learning experience, because now I don't hate you for what you did. I don't hate you for things not working out. Maybe it wasn't meant to, because everything happens for a reason. Maybe our relationship didn't work out, but in the 6 months that it did, it was good. When we had our good times, we had our good times. We talked, we laughed, whatever it may have been. We went on dates. We had those communications, we had those conversations. You brought me happiness and peace, even if it was for a short period of time. And now we're seeing it for what it is, and it's not working anymore. And it's okay. Again, Sierra and Future. It didn't work out, but she got her child out of that. That changed her life completely, and she is where she is now. But her child was a blessing out of something that just did not work out. You got to take what you get from it and move on. Take everything as a learning experience. Yes, it didn't work out, but what did you learn from it? What did you gain from it? Maybe it's not supposed to be a boyfriend. Maybe they were meant to be your friend. Maybe it's not meant to be a friend. Maybe they're meant to be on the other side. Maybe they're not meant to be your friend, and you tried so hard to make that person your friend, and that wasn't for you. And you have to stop trying to fit people into your life when God is literally telling you to let them go. It's like trying to play with the blocks, and you're sticking the triangle on the square, and you don't understand why it's not fitting. And it's because it's not supposed to. And we don't want that to be true. We want everybody that we loved or cared about to always fit in our lives. But sometimes you literally just have to cut the cord. The puzzle piece does not fit there. Move on. And it is hard to let people go that you love and that you care about, but you have to think about yourself, because what are you putting you through to try to make it work with somebody else? How much stress are you putting on yourself to try to make this relationship work? How much stress are you putting on your mental, because you're just overthinking, well, maybe they're doing this. It's just like when you get cheated on and then you take the person back, and now you can't stop thinking about, what if they cheat again? What are they going to do this? What are they going to do this? And you took them back because you love them and you care about them, and they've apologized and they said they're going to do better. But in the back of your head, you don't think that they will. But you put that so far back that you're like, okay, they're going to change. Okay, they're going to do better. But the moment they don't answer their phone, you think they cheating. They just taking a nap. But now you're always going to put that on that person, instead of allowing yourself to heal and letting them go. And I say this so strongly because I have that problem. I don't know how to let people go sometimes. And I'm always like, well, you never know who you might need. I don't want to burn bridges. I would rather have this long term friendship. I want to be friends with these people forever. I think I've spoken this before. One of my things that I talked about in therapy was, a lot of my parents' friends are lifelong friends. They've been friends since they all went to Morgan Park, because both my parents went to Morgan Park. Um, and a lot of their friends, like, they have all of both of my parents is 50, and then all of their friends is 50th birthday parties they were all at. And I'm like, I love that. I want that. And it can happen, but also there's probably some people that they don't talk to anymore. There's people you have to cut out. You don't have to continue to be in these friendships with people. And my therapist told me that, she's like, everybody don't have to be in your life forever, because they're in your life forever, but for at what cost? What are they costing you to be your friend, to be in a relationship with you? Like, how long do they get to stay here until you realize that they really are not meant to be here? How long do you allow people to continue to disappoint you over and over and over again until you realize they don't have to disappoint you? You don't have to tolerate that. And that could even be with people in your family, parents. You don't have to allow your parents to continue to disappoint you or treat you a certain way. It's okay to let people be where they are. Step away from that. You don't have to deal with that. And it's better, I mean, it's easier said than done, but sometimes it needs to be done for the sake of you. Because at the end of the day, every person is doing things for themselves. Every person cares about themselves, as they should. But you have to realize if they care about them as much as they care about them, I can as well. Because I'm going to put myself first. And that's me. I've lost some friendships. I've lost some relationships. I've had to do the cutting off of people. For a very long time, I didn't cut people off. I would allow, I don't even, well, I didn't used to, but I didn't block people. That was a thing for me. I was not a blocker on any social media. Like, if I blocked you, you were probably like a creep and you were blowing my messages up on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, or you were tweeting me weird stuff or something like that, or you're like a random person. I would block those people. I never blocked family members. I never blocked friends. I never blocked exes or people that I was dating or talking to. No, never. And it was the thought process of, we got into it, things didn't, some things were left unsaid, and I was always leaving them the leeway of being able to fix what happened, because at some part of me wanted that person to still be in my life, so I would always leave the door cracked a little bit so they can come back into my life. And then it was like I would let them back in when they decided to come back around. Or sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they never reach out. Sometimes they never try to clear the air. Sometimes they didn't care anymore, because for the benefit of themselves, they're like, I don't need you. I'm done. I said what I had to say. Whatever you don't, if you don't care, I don't care. That's it. So they leave and they're done. And then I'm like, well, damn, I could have been the one that just ended it. Like I could have been the one to cut it off, because originally that's what I wanted to do. But for the sake of their feelings and mine, I was like, well, I'm gonna just leave it open for them. And they will walk away and say, well, I'm done. They closed the door on their side, but it was still open on my side. And there were other people that would come back in, that I would allow to come back, even though they hurt me, even though they disappointed me, even though they said things that I didn't like, even though they talked down on me, even though, they disrespected me, whatever it may be, I left the door open for that leeway of them coming back in. And then when they came back in, they didn't change. They didn't do anything different. Or they didn't say what I've been waiting for them to say for years to clear up the situation. And then it became a cycle of, well, now we don't talk, but then we'll start talking again. And they became used to that. I used to leave the door open for so many people, even if it was cracked. Even if I closed it, I left it unlocked. Like, I left the door unlocked, so no matter what, you can always come back into my life, because I care about you, and at some point I know we'll care about each other again. And I was doing that so much that people, I don't know if they purposely were like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this, but it was happening. People were going through the revolving door of my life and my emotions, and it would be, okay, we don't talk for 6 months, but I'm gonna come back around and I'm gonna start talking to you again. Or, I haven't said anything about the issue, we're gonna let that die down, I'm gonna come back around, we're gonna be cool. And then that issue, you know, might arise again, but we'll ignore it again. Then we actually never talk about the root of the problem, but we're always arguing about it. We're always having an issue with it, and always at that root of the problem, but it's never getting fixed. And I've decided within the last 6 months to a year, I'm I'm closing it. The revolver door is is broken. You can't go through it. It's out of order. The doors on the side are locked. There's no windows are locked. It's sealed in. There's no more coming back. because I'm tired of giving people that access to me that they are so used to think, okay, cool, we'll get into it, but at some point she'll be my friend again. Okay, cool, I was being a bad friend and I didn't talk to her for this amount of time, but I know she's used to that, and this is how our friendship is. Our friendship is we don't talk for a long time after we get into it, and then something happens, or there's a birthday, or there's something, and we get back reconnected, and then we're cool again. I know this is going to happen because this is what she's allowed me to do for so long, so I'm used to it. That door is going to keep revolving, and I'm done. That's no longer happening in my life because it doesn't benefit me. Only benefit is that I can say that I have a long-term friendship, or that I have a long-term relationship, or this person I've been knowing all of my life. But if you can't do anything for me, why are you here? If you're not pouring into me, if you're not helping me, if you're not bringing value into my life, why are you here? And why am I allowing you to be here? Because you don't deserve my presence. You don't deserve my loyalty. You don't deserve my respect. You don't deserve to be around me at all. So I'm locking everything up. I'm cutting off access to people. I have now become the person that, yes, I'm going to block you. And I've had to meet myself in the middle. One person I gave like a week, literally from Sunday to Sunday. I gave them a week to have a conversation, or text me back, or say whatever it was that needs to be said between me and this person. They did not do it. I reached out. When I reached out, the conversation wasn't where it needed to be. I blocked them. You don't have access to me anymore. I'm better because you don't. Because I get to the point where sometimes I'll feel like I need to reach out, but I'm also a very, very stubborn person by nature, where if you say we not talking, we not talking. If I say we're not talking, we're not talking. I'm cutting that communication off. You won't hear from me. You'll have to wait to reach out to me. And a lot of times people take advantage of that because they know that that's how it is. And so they're like, okay, well, cool, I'll reach out. I know she's waiting, but now you can't because you're blocked. I had one of my favorite situationships blocked for 6 months. Granted, eventually they got unblocked, but that's because at that point I was healed. Not because of them per se, but it's like now I know how to handle things with this person going forward. Now I know how me and this person can communicate. And this is what my therapist is saying, that some people can be in your life for to a certain capacity. They don't have to be everything that they used to be. Some people are meant to be in your life to be that shoulder you can lean on. Some friends can be that friend that you just go out to drinks with, just your party friend, just your brunch friend, just your hangout friend. They don't have to be the title that they were before. If you want them in your life, she said you don't have to completely cut people out of your life. But if you want them in your life, and you find a way for them to fit, then so be it. But set boundaries with those people. Do not allow people to just be in your life and not put boundaries or a box around what you're allowing them to do. And then once they disrespect those boundaries, then they really don't deserve to be there, because they don't respect you anymore, because they can't respect the boundaries that you've set. And even if you don't tell them about the boundaries, you see that they're going back to the old behavior that you no longer like. So this was your chance, and then you blew it. And that happened with the 6 month. I blocked them. Um, and it was very unfamiliar because that was not something I had ever done before. We had gotten into it plenty of times, and I never blocked them. I might have muted them and tried not to have communication, but it was never a block. It was always, if they reached out, I respond. If I reached out, they respond. It would be short conversations here and there, but I never had blocked them. And this was a full blown block through all social media, on my phone. There was no way you could get in contact with me unless you tried to send me an email. And it's like, oh, they sent me an email. We love a little toxic every once in a while. But I had cut off all communication, and then when I was ready for them to be in my life, and I had boundaries that I wanted to set, and things that I would allow and would not allow, it became a better relationship. It became better for me and for them, because now in that 6 months that I haven't been around, you've learned what you like about me and what you don't like about me, and it's helped you better because now you're thinking about yourself and not me. So sometimes you have to cut off that access. And I recently told this to somebody that has been friends, acquaintances for a very long time, on and off. And that was the on and off. And it was so used to, oh, now I want to be back around. How are you? You know how people start slowly trying to come back. How are you? What you been doing? How's life going? Do you still live at this house? Let's catch up. Let's go out. And I had to nip it in Bob. Was like, honestly, you're used to this. And we're not even close, and you're used to this. You're someone that I don't really have a close relationship to, but you're used to us not talking for months or for years, and then you being able to come back and slide in my DMs or send me a text message and start that back up again. And then I'll allow it. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, we can hang out, we can do this, we can do that. And then something else happens, and then we stop talking, and it becomes a cycle. And I was like, I'm ending those cycles. I said, so many people are so used to having so much access to me whenever they want it. I cannot continue to do that. Granted, everybody is different. Every person's boundaries are different in my life, but I can't allow you to continue to have unlimited access to me because it's not fair to me. I'm not putting myself first if I'm allowing someone to keep coming around and using me or choosing me when they want to choose me. You don't have the leeway to tell me when, where, and how you can be in my life or how you're going to show up for me. No, I'm going to tell you. If I don't want to tolerate how you treat me as a person or how you speak to me or how you look down on me or however it may be, if I don't want to deal with that, I'm not going to do it. I'm putting that in the butt, like nipping that in the butt off back. I'm not allowing people to treat me how they want me to be treated. Because even in school, they told you treat people how you want to be treated. And you're not treating me that way. Because if this is how you want to be treated, then ooh, child, how do you feel about yourself? Like, it's not great. So this year is about me. 30 is about me. I want to be happy. I want to have peace. Um, Even if it comes like down to relationships, I want that to be authentic and genuine and raw. And I want it to be somebody who I care about, who cares about me. I want it to be all of the things that I imagine it to be. But that doesn't mean I'm blocking off every person that approaches me. I'm not going to say every person, well, no, we didn't meet authentically. No, you didn't fall in love with me as soon as you see me, even though that you should. I'm allowing people to show me who they are first. I don't want you to, people put on that mask up front sometimes. Some people are not very genuine and real when you meet them. So they put on this charade of who they are, and you have to give them time for that mask to slowly start cracking and for them to slowly start showing you who they are. And then you can leave. All right, I seen it. I seen who you really are as a person. I wanted you to be different. I thought you had more potential. Um, you didn't. It didn't work out. I leave you where you are. And then I decide if I want you to have access to me. I decide if I want us to be able to talk, if I want to have communication with you. This is my decision because it's my life. And you have the decision to say, I don't want to talk to you anymore. If you want to cut me off by all means, you can do it. Do whatever makes you happy. But it also, I need to make sure I'm happy. So if I no longer want to talk to you and I don't want to be around you, if I want to end conversations when I end them, if I want to cut off communication when I feel as though I want to cut off communication, if I don't want to have long arguments through text messages and I don't want to have those conversations in person because there's no benefit to me in those conversations, then I'm going to do that. If you think that I am selfish, by all means, that is exactly how I want you to feel because I have to be selfish with me. I have to do things for myself. I have to stand up for myself. And I have to put myself first because I am the most important person in my world. And people don't like that. People don't appreciate that. People don't see it how you see it. They see you as being rude. They see you as being selfish. They see you as being whatever the word they might want to use that day. And it's like, I understand that. And for you, this is not how it works. Not saying that we still can't communicate effectively and, make sure I'm like just not cutting you off just because of whatever. But sometimes you have to because you have to do things that benefit you in the long run. Nobody's living this life for you. Nobody's doing these things for you. Nobody is waking up every morning and being you. You can't take a break and go be somebody else. You have to live your life and you have to make sure that you are aligned with people who truly want to be in your life, people who value you, people who pour into you, people who are excited to be in your circle, people who show up for you and show out for you as you deserve for them to do for you. And that's how I want my year to go. I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel valued. I want to feel love. And I want to be the person that also does that for other people. I want to be the person that shows up for people in my life who show up for me and who pour into people who pour into me, who value people who value me. And that's what I deserve. And I'm so nice all the time. And I'm so nice to everybody that sometimes I need to be a bitch. Sometimes I need to be rude. Sometimes I need to be mean because stop playing with me. This is the year that we stop playing with people. Like, stop treating people any type of way. Stop saying things to people that you don't want them to say to you. Stop thinking it's okay to treat people how you treat them. No. Because now we're standing on business. Now we're standing on our boundaries and we're not allowing people to do and say and be whatever it is that they want to be to me. Go do it to somebody else. But you can't bother me. I don't want to be bothered. Don't come over here bothering me. Don't come up and messing my space. Don't come up and messing my peace up. Don't, none of that. This is self love over here. And this is, and I'm going to wrap it up because I know it's getting kind of long. But that was the thing that my therapist said to work on. She's like, you need to work on your self worth. And I thought I had a whole bunch of it. I'm like, what you mean I love me? But she was like, the way that you allow some people to come in and out of your life, and the way you allow some people to treat you, and the way you don't speak up for yourself is based on your self worth. And what your, like, your, how you value yourself is showing how you're, like, it's based on how you're showing other people to value you, or if that makes sense. But basically, your self worth is a big thing. And if you don't see yourself worthy enough, then how should anyone else see it? If you don't think you're worthy enough to have somebody that truly loves you, that cares about you, that supports you, that's loyal, that's a great friend, that's a great boyfriend or girlfriend, that's a great family member, that's a great whatever, then why would they think you're worthy enough to receive it? How will you ever get that if you don't think you're worthy enough to get it, because you keep settling for things, you keep allowing people to mistreat you, you keep allowing people to disrespect you, you keep allowing people to show you who they truly are, and you're not taking that for what they are, you're taking that for who they are right now and hoping that they can change. Stop that, because you're just devaluing your self-worth, because you don't think that you're worthy of greatness. You don't think that you're worthy enough to have something good in your life, because you're so focused on trying to make all the negative things work for you, and it doesn't, and it's not supposed to. It's all supposed to be happiness, all things that bring you happiness. Granted, everything won't be happy, everything isn't a perfect picture, everything isn't positive and rainbows and butterflies, but everything also isn't sad and depressing and disrespectful and upsetting and stressful. There is a happy medium, but you have to find that. You have to find where you are happy at. What makes you happy? What things make you want to smile and be going outside and singing to the top of your lungs like in a Disney movie? What makes you want to be the best version of yourself? And you can't have that if you're allowing people to devalue you and you're allowing people to lower your worth. So stop it. Go be happy. Enjoy life. Stop allowing the wrong people to be around you. Cut people off. Block people. Cut off their access and communication with them. And if you don't want to do that, set boundaries with them. Start marking off them 3 strikes. I set this boundary. You disrespected it, 1 strike. You got one more chance. I set this boundary. You didn't follow it. You didn't do whatever it was. And sometimes you don't even have to tell people what the boundaries are. You just make a mental note or write it down in your notes for real for yourself and say, I don't like when this person disrespects me. This is their boundary. I will now not allow them to do this to me anymore. And then they do it, and you're like, all right, you crossed it. Now you cut off. And it's not even that you're cut off without warning, because I've warned you in various ways. I said, don't talk to me that way. I said, don't raise your voice at me. I said, don't tell me certain things because I feel disrespected. It can trigger me because of something else that I went through, and I expressed this to you. And even though the boundary isn't big and bright letters, I've told you before this is how I feel about this, and you continue to do it. So now I'm not allowing you to get that 3rd strike, because this is something that triggers me, and this is something that upsets me. This is something that makes me sad. I'm not going to allow you to do it again. Your access has been denied. Stay where you at. Go be blessed. Hope you heal. Simple as that. And that is this week's episode of My Thoughts podcast with Jay. Thank you for listening. This was a long one, but y'all heard me. I kept going and going and going. I had to give y'all. I was flowing. That's how pastors be feeling when they be up there on the pulpit, child. But thank you very much for listening. I love all of you guys. Please share, like, repost, retweet. Um, Whenever you hear it, I hope that even if you're only listening to a snippet, or even if whatever it may be, I just thank you for listening to me. And I also always appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be blessed. Go be happy. Go find your peace. Cut those people off who are unworthy of you. Because again, you are the most important person in your world. Let that be your mantra. Tell them that Jay told you. Period. Bye, guys. Love you. I'll be back soon. I don't know when. Stop asking. I'll be back when I get back. Have a great 2024. And happy birthday to me if I won't talk to you by then. Bye. Love ya.